This is the Kia EV5, and in terms of price and range alone, this is a Model Y killer. Yes, I know I'm starting the video with some controversial comments, but it's 2025, you've got to be spicy to appease the algorithm. That being said, there is some truth to what I say. Brand new, the EV5 starts at $68,000, exactly the same price as the Tesla Model Y, but this has 100 k's per charge more range. Although, as you're about to see, it doesn't beat the Tesla in every area. And we're off, and let's start with tech specs. Now, there are 5 different, confusingly named variations of the EV5. They all have names that sound like cheap Captain Planet sidekicks from Wish.com. They are the Lite Plus, the Earth all-wheel drive, and the GT line. I've obviously put all the information on the screen so you can see the key differences between each variation. Basically, no matter which one you get though, they're all going to have the same massive 88.1 kilowatt hour battery pack strapped to the underside of this car. But wait, there's more. The chemistry in the battery under this car is LFP. And if you don't know anything about batteries, in short, LFP, or lithium iron phosphate, is my favorite battery chemistry because it's bulletproof, quite literally, as you can see in this footage that I stole from BYD, showing them puncturing one of their LFP cells, which means that you can run it hot, run it cold, drain them hard, charge them hard, work them like they've never been worked before, and they'll come back begging for more. Basically everything that all those EV haters on Facebook have complained about doesn't apply to this car. It gets even better. The battery warranty alone in this car is for 8 years. That's 8 years just on the warranty. Realistically, because it's LFP chemistry and it's pretty bulletproof, the batteries I expect in this car to last 10 to 15 to 25 years. No, I'm not kidding. Quarter of a century the batteries in this car can last. That's LFP for you. Let's talk design now though, and it is a very polarizing car. Look at the style, look at the angles on it, though it's not what I'd call sexy. It's basically a geometry teacher's fever dream. It's very cubist, very pointy, but it seems to work. I don't think it's an offensive design. It's one of those polarizing designs. You're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. Same goes with the wheels. They're really decisive and polarizing, almost brutalist. You get 18-inch wheels on this model, then you can get 19-inch wheels on the next ones up, and if you get the GT line, you get 20-inch wheels. All of them are kind of cool, very sort of retro-futury. And right above those wheel covers, you get a sort of matte black plastic cover to give it sort of a rugged off-roady look. Now, in the overseas models, I've seen them with piano black covers. That's actual shiny black covers. Why would you put shiny black plastic on the outside of a car? Because you know it will end up more scratched than that Björk CD you used as a coaster back in 1997. As for the paint options, it's not just available in dull black and grey. Take this car for example, it's got iceberg green matte paint, which kind of looks interesting I guess, although I never quite got the point of matte paint. Seems like if you really want to create the effect of taking your car to Northern Territory in Australia and leaving it there for 8 years, then choose that option. There you go, follow me for more life tips.
Gavin's crappy life tips.
Let's move on to interior design now, and as you can see, it is very busy. There's a lot going on. There's lots of angles, there's lots of shapes, there's lots of textiles, there's also loads of buttons. It's got more buttons than a Victorian dress. It's basically the anti-Tesla, this car. It's like, imagine Elon opening a vegan restaurant. Perish the thought. Actually, speaking of which, when it comes to the interior, Kia have put a lot of effort into making sure that a lot of the materials are from low carbon sources, from ethical sources, or just recycled sources. Thing is, whether you love or hate Kia, you can't deny that they are doing really striking, bold, audacious things with car design. Things so bold, they're illegal in South Dakota. Fun fact, in South Dakota, it's illegal to fall asleep in a cheese factory. I'm not making it up. Also, while we're on the subject of crazy laws, in Western Australia, it's illegal for an individual to transport more than 50 kilograms of potatoes. It's crazy. There's an obvious reason why I've never been to Western Australia. But back to design. I mentioned that it's a really busy dashboard, right? Lots and lots of buttons. That is a good thing, because while you can go into the infotainment system and change whatever settings you like, it's very customizable. If you just want to give this car to your husband, wife, daughter, son, whatever, and just say, here, take the car, they can get in it and they can just drive it. There's no learning required with some newer cars, which are all infotainment based. You can just get in and they know that this knob, this button starts the car, although you can't always see it behind the steering wheel. Then you twist it to go into drive. The handbrake's automatic. It just goes. You've got your temperature controls here. You've got your cruise control and your voice commands and everything here. It just works, you know? Plus, being a box, it is the ideal shape to transport stuff in. It means that you have lots of room. So let's move on to room, storage, and space. Now I mentioned it's boxy, right? Well, it is. Look at all of this space around me. I have more empty space around me than Voyager 1. Plus, I'm just as lonely. Now, to give you a reference point, I am 178 centimeters tall, or in Roman Catholic 5'10", which is coincidentally identical in height to the actor Andrew Garfield. You know, that guy famous for hating Mondays and loving lasagna. But Andrew, if you're watching this, you'll be happy to know that you have heaps of room above your head. In the front here, there is masses of room, although something that's a little odd is that I have the steering wheel, which is adjustable, all the way out, but it's still quite far away. But my legs are at the right length from the pedals. If I go any further forward, like, yep, that's perfect now, but now my legs are too close. So I don't know if Kia, if you guys have done something weird here, or maybe I'm just oddly proportioned. But if you're not Andrew Garfield and perhaps you're just transporting him, then look at the room you've got in the back. Heaps of floor room, a nice flat floor as well, by the way. And look at the headroom. Masses of headroom. You could be 6'5" in this car easily. Plus, it gets better, you've got fold-down armrest with cup holders and all that. The seat is nice and wide, so you can fit a child seat in the back or two. It's got 2 ISOFIX points. It's got 3 high top tether mounts in the back seat, the top of the back seat. It's a great family car. Plus, you've got vents back there for air conditioning. You've got USB charging in the back of each seat. Plus, you have potato storage in the center console. Look at the size of that tray you can pull out. But what about boot space, you're asking? Well, have I got good news for you. Pop the boot and look at the space you've got. 513 litres back there. Plus you've got a cubby hole, another cubby hole, you've got another cubby hole, another cubby hole, and another cubby hole. You've got so much space. Plus, if you happen to be a Sicilian gangster and you are kidnapping Andrew Garfield, for example, look, you can fit Andrew Garfield in the back easily. Nice work, Kia. But wait, there's more. Drop the back seats down and suddenly you've got 1,713 litres. Plus, look at the way the seats go down. The lower squab moves forward and down, and the result is that you've got a really flat surface and you can lie down fully. So Andrew, if you're watching, you can go camping in the back here, you can put a mattress in there and your head will not hit those seats. If you want more storage, go up to the front, pop the bonnet, and suddenly you have access to a 67-litre fartment or front compartment where you can store your potatoes, your luggage, or your charging cables in this case. And 67 litres, that's a good amount of room. That's about the same amount of storage space in a Ford Mustang GT's petrol tank. I dread to think what that costs to fill up because I've just seen how expensive petrol is, and no, that's not for me. The only time I ever go to a petrol station these days is to buy a pie that inexplicably costs $8. On the subject of more weird storage, you have to see this. Look at this bench seat. It's sort of, well, it's not, is it? It's a half bench seat, which, looking at it, it doesn't feel very strong either. I wouldn't put too much weight on it, so I don't really know what the point is. It's also got a little pocket here, which you can, if you want to, you could jam your phone in there, or I've found out, it just fits the latest episode of the Austin Allegro magazine. Now, one benefit of having so much space around you is that it means you've got good visibility. You've got big windows, and the pillars aren't too thick either, so your visibility's great, the steering's nice, and it's just an easy car to drive. The only downside is the rear window's a little small. It's not tiny, it's just a little small, so you'll find yourself using the reversing camera system, which is great, and it's 3D as well. You can spin it around like this. It's all very intelligent, it's very good. On that note, let's move on to gadgets. Let's start with what's right in front of us. We have two 12.3-inch displays here, plus an extra 5-inch display in the middle. We've got on the left-hand side the infotainment system. This is a touchscreen display, and on the right-hand side we've got the instrument cluster, the speed, the range, all that stuff. And in the middle we've got a 5-inch display here. It's also touchscreen, which lets you change the air conditioning settings. No more hunting through menus and things to find the screen. It's just right there all the time. The only downside is you're going to have to move your head a little bit because the steering wheel just covers that display slightly. But it's great having a display there, because in some cars, if you've got Apple CarPlay or Android Auto running, you have to close that to get access to the air conditioning controls. Not this, it's always there. Plus, you've got options. You've got so many options. You've got physical buttons as well. So if you want, you can change the air conditioning settings from the main display. Or you can use the smaller 5-inch display. Or you can use the physical buttons. Or, it gets better, blow on my face. That'll be a better way to word that.
Setting fan to upper body.
Yes, just about everything in this car is voice controlled if you want it to be, which is really good. It's smart too. It figures out what you're trying to say like a Tesla, but unlike a Tesla, this has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, finally. Plus, it's wireless. Yes, it's all wireless, but there's a downside. There's no wireless charging for your phone in these entry-level versions. You're gonna have to use a cable, but fortunately, it's got plenty of USB charging there, plus there's charging in the back as well. You can change the charging between rapid charging and just data transfer with the push of a button down here. Look at that. Smart. But by far, the coolest gadget in this car is remote start parking assist, which means that if your car is jammed into a tight spot or someone's parking over the line or you can't pull out, this is going to be a lifesaver for you. because with a push of a button, actually a few complicated button pushes, you can get the car to respond, to crawl out if it's safe to do so. If it detects no obstacles, it will crawl out, and then before you know it, you can just walk around the side, jump in, and you are off. It is brilliant. Now, there will be people saying that this is just a party piece, it's a gimmick, it's pointless, but if you're in a wheelchair, you're going to use this every single day. It's a freaking brilliant idea. There's only one little downside with this problem, and that is getting it to work is a bit cumbersome. You've got the remote control that operates it. It's got buttons all the way around the outside, which is a strange idea, and you've got to do a combination of holding buttons, pressing buttons to make it work, and I keep forgetting what it is. It's like, remember that game in the 90s for kids? Bop it! It's the same sort of thing. You've got to grab the remote, you bop it, twist it, squeeze it, push it, pull it, kill it, bury it, change your identity, leave the country, all that stuff you've got to do just to make the car move out. It's a bit of a pain in the bum. The thing is, Tesla's got a similar function and you can do it all through the mobile app. Should point out though that the mobile app for the EV5 is pretty good. It tells you all the useful stuff you want to know with your electric car, the state of charge, where it is, that sort of stuff. You can turn on the aircon, that sort of thing. Now, the thing is, a few weeks ago, I got to play with the new Kia EV3, which is about to have its price announced. Actually, it's a really good car. I struggled to fault that car. If you're in the mood for a smaller electric hatchback, do check out that video. Basically, the mobile app for the EV3 was much more comprehensive than the mobile app for this one. You can do more stuff like, for example, using the cameras in the EV3 to check out your surroundings. You can't do it on this one because, well, there just aren't that many cameras. It's not all puppies and rainbows with the EV5. I have compiled over the last few days a list of things I don't like about this car. Starting with, there's no sunroof. Lovely sunny day, but all I've got is a fabric roof above me. In fact, you don't get a sunroof in any of the entry-level versions, not the Light Plus, the Earth, Wind and Fire. You don't get any of that. Only the GT line comes with the electronic sunroof. Same goes for their heads-up display. Only the higher spec models get the heads-up display. Now this is normal with a lot of legacy car makers. It's not like Chinese brands that are new to New Zealand. They'll put all the specs they can possibly fit. It's the same story for the 230 volts outlet in the boot. This one doesn't have one. It's such a shame because they're so handy having mains power in the boot. Plus, there's one thing that not every EV5 has, and that is vehicle to load. It's only available on the higher spec models. And if you don't know what it is, put simply, you plug a device into the side of the charging port on the outside of the car, and you take power out of the battery. So you can run your toaster, your kettle, your TV, your freezer, your fridge, all that stuff. It will run for weeks off this massive battery pack, and that is so crucial in a power cut. The result is that the Kia EV5 strikes me as a car that is in many ways like a Tesla Model Y. However, it doesn't have quite the same level of playful gadgetry. Like, you can't watch Netflix or YouTube or draw pretty pictures in this car like you can in a Tesla, but it does go much further per charge, 100 kilometers more for the same price. Or does it? Let's go on a road trip. And we are off, and today's road trip is taking us from here in the bustling metropolis that is Te Kuiti, all the way across the central North Island, all the way up to Rotorua, then around the back of Lake Rotorua. We're going to go past Hamilton, through Huntly, all the way to the ChargeNet hyper rapid chargers at the Bombay Hills. Now this is going to be a good test not only of the car's range and kiwi conditions on hills and highways and stuff, but also of how comfortable it is, because let's face it, I'm not getting any younger. Not that I'm really old, but my Christmas stocking this year, well, it was just ibuprofen, because this is not 2005 anymore. Electric cars don't only do 150 k's per charge, now they do 555. Or do they? Well, we're in a 100k zone. Off we go. And as we start this long distance trip, let's talk comfort. And we'll start with ingress and egress. How easy is it to get in and out of this car? And it's actually quite easy, because at its lowest height setting, the driver's seat is 72 centimeters off the ground, which means you can get in and out easy if you are of, well, you know, if you're halfway to 90 like I am. Plus the seats are largely electronically adjustable as well, and it's even got a massage button in the middle there. You push that button and, hang on, let's crack into it. Massage. Here we go, it's taken off. Oh yeah. Oh, this is living, man. Turn off, for crying out loud! Come on, easy, Tiger. Go back down. Crikey, you gotta buy me a drink first, man. Only the entry-level version has cloth seats. Now, I don't know why, because in my mind, cloth is better. It's better in winter, it's better in the hot sun and summer. I don't know why it's available on the entry-level version. I think cloth seats honestly should be an option for all models. I do have one minor complaint early on already though, and that is that the lane keeping assist is a little bit nanny-ish. It really does take over. So on these twite-tisty, and it gets a bit annoying. It's constantly guiding the wheel in the way it thinks you should be going, and I'm going to turn that off. You can do that by holding down the steering assist button for a few seconds. There we go, it's now off. So now I've got complete control, for better or worse. This is probably on par now with Tesla's system. It's got really good. Kia's put a lot of effort into making their lane keeping assist, their self-driving level 2, really, really tight, and it feels like a human driver now. It's getting really good. Also, the noise level in this car, on coarse strip roads like this, I'm doing 94 k's an hour, and I can hold a normal conversation right now. I don't have to have a loud voice. This is brilliant. One other little complaint I have though is that it's got quite soft suspension. Now, in a lot of cars from Korea, when they sell them in New Zealand and Australia, they'll tighten the suspension up because our roads tend to be a little bit more, well, a bit more interesting than those boring, flat, smooth Korean roads. Ours are much more fun, and it reflects that. They tighten the suspension up so it doesn't wallow too much. This one still has very soft suspension. I feel like it's got Korean level suspension on it, which means it is quite soft. Now, I like that, but you will notice that if you bring this car to a complete sudden stop, because it is just over 2 ton, it's not bad. But if you're a driver, you'll notice it. One thing Kia have improved on though is the volume of all the chirps and chimes and bings and bongs. Now, Kias tend to be quite vocal cars when you're driving. It's how they get that stupidly high 5-star safety rating, because the car's alerting you to every hazard it sees. Now, they've thought about it. You can press the favorites button now, which is programmed to take you straight to the turn everything off page, which is great. You can turn off the speed limit warning. You can turn off the driver attention warning, this thing that's staring at me all the time and gets upset if you're wearing sunglasses sometimes. You can turn all that off, but you have to turn it off every time you get in the car. Minor complaint. All in all though, this car seems to be doing quite well. It's got a nice wheelbase, it's very comfortable, it's quiet, the air conditioning's set just so, it seems to be good, but we'll find out when we get to the charger. If you're thinking of getting an electric car but you don't know how to charge it, you're put off by the whole fear of charging it, don't worry, it's actually really easy. I made a video, which I'll put a link to that in the description, showing you how easy it is to charge an electric car. Don't be scared by the unknown. Plus, I want to do a shout out to Ecotricity for making these free entertaining videos possible for you every week. Join Ecotricity! It is New Zealand's only certified climate positive electricity provider, which means all the electricity they provide is from wind, hydro and solar, nothing else. No dirty gas, no expensive coal, just clean electricity that won't cost the earth. So why not sign up at ecotricity.co.nz? Okay, I'm going to speed this next segment up. And we've made it! Off the motorway, we are pulling into the ChargeNet Hyper Rapid Chargers, the Bombay Hills, and I gotta say, I can't fault the ride. I feel good. Joints are good. I'm comfortable. It's been, 4 hours and 47 minutes, 356 Ks. Piece of cake. My economy has been 18.9 units of electricity, which is, well, it's not bad. So let's plug it in and see what it's like, and then we shall do the spud score.
Starting with performance, and it gets an average 5 out of 10 spuds for acceleration that is, well, average. Next is handling, and I'm giving it 5 spuds because it's a little soft for hard, sporty cornering, but it does result in comfort. Yes, it's comfort on wheels, so I'm giving it 8 spuds. A soft, quiet ride means that your kids are gonna fall asleep in the EV5 on just about every journey. As for efficiency, 7 spuds there. Even with my heavy right foot on the open road, it used an average of 18.9 units of free-range Ecotricity power per 100 Ks. This means you'll easily get 400 Ks out of a charge on the highway and around 500 Ks per charge in the city. Gadgetry is next, and I'm giving it 6 out of 10 potatoes, as it's got everything you'd need, from USB charging to remote start parking assist. The stock standard sound system is also unexpectedly good. It's just a shame it doesn't have onboard mains power in every model. Values next, and I'm giving it a very reasonable 7 spuds. For the amount of car you get for your money, the EV5 really is quite good value when compared to the competition. As for charging speed, well, it's not exactly brutal. It has a top charging speed of 141 kilowatts, which is fine in 2025, and it hit that speed pretty early on, but then it dropped. Then it went back up, and then down, and back up again. So perhaps the car and the charger were just having a bit of a disagreement, but it took 37 minutes to get from 21 to 80%. That's not bad, but not amazing, so 6 spuds there. Styles next, and I reckon it's inoffensive, but not exactly beautiful, so I'm giving it 5 potatoes. But is it fit for purpose? Well, as a Tesla Model Y competitor, it does well. It's got heaps of room, great comfort, nice big battery, it feels very well built, and it's got an 8-year warranty on that battery. What more do you want? 8 potatoes there. But PSC is the most important metric, and this one breaks records, with the ability to store no fewer than 91 potatoes in its dash, aided by the large potato tray accessible from the rear console. I'm giving it 10 out of 10 here, which brings the total spud score to 67. And that's the guts of the EV5. It's quite different to the Kia EV9, which is more of a showpiece of what's possible with EVs. This one, well, it's much more normal, with a much more normal price. And although its off-the-line acceleration is a bit dull, and it doesn't corner quite like a Tesla, bang for buck, this is a very decent, very comfortable family car.